Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to give you guys kind of an update that I said I would be sharing over on my Instagram, and I wanted to give you an update kind of on my pregnancy and what has been going on lately because things have been a little crazy.
Hey now, take a step outside and seize the day now. Set aside your worries, it's okay now. The sun is here to stay. Blue skies, feel the wind beneath you as you fly.
Okay, so as many of you know, I've made a couple videos about like COVID and the pandemic and what's been going on and how that's been affecting pregnant people. But on top of all of that, we got some kind of interesting news at our 36-week ultrasound appointment. And that news was that the baby seemed really small and my fluid levels seemed really unusual. So they actually referred me to a high-risk OBGYN to get it checked out like the next day. I met with a sonographer and they ended up doing like an hour-and-a-half long ultrasound on me down at high risk, and then I ended up meeting with a maternal fetal medicine high risk specialist to talk about the results. And the results were interesting, difficult I think, and I'm still processing them myself, but I wanted to share them on here because it's been a hard week, and it's just a week of a lot of prayer and faith in the process, and I feel really blessed compared to what so many people, so many moms have to do dealing with late-term miscarriage and infant loss and just all of those things. I just don't know how those moms find the strength. And so this in no way is like belittling someone else's experience, and I feel very blessed for so many things, but I am struggling a little bit, and I wanted to talk about it and be real with you guys in case you find yourself in the same position. Because for me, honestly, like looking up videos or just talking to friends who have sisters that have gone through things like this, or moms or whatever, has been the only thing helping me at this point. That and just prayer and talking to my husband and talking through it. So what's kind of going on is we knew the baby was positioned wrong, probably. He's been transverse pretty much my entire pregnancy. His head has been on one side of my belly button, his booty's been on the other. I can feel them really distinctly. This was not only confirmed by my OBGYNs, but I also would check his heartbeat with my stethoscope and stuff. It was pretty easy to pinpoint where that was. So that was just further confirmation from a belly mapping standpoint of where he was chilling, and it was not head down. I went to, what was it, my 36-week appointment, and they told me yes, he is in fact a breech on top of everything else. So I started doing the spinning babies protocol, which if you guys have a breech baby, definitely check it out. I'm going to talk a little bit more maybe in another video about the breech baby process, if that would be helpful, or if that's something you think you might experience, or if your baby has been feet down. Breech is feet down. If your baby's been feet down so far in your pregnancy and you want to learn more about kind of what I've been doing or all the things I've been doing, a girlfriend suggested checking out Spinning Babies, which is a protocol written by doctors and chiropractors to help baby flip around and encourage that in a holistic manner. Kind of doing what you can at home. I unfortunately didn't start that until really late because I didn't think it was going to be a problem, because when I did research, everything I saw said, I forget what it is, like 95% of babies, or like a ton of babies flip to head down by week 36. And I was like, okay, how do they know how to do this? You don't have like a searchlight saying like light at the end of the tunnel, like this is the way you go out, baby. But it's all due to space. So basically, once the baby starts feeling cramped in certain positions, he or she will rotate head down because that's the roomiest position for their head. So they're going to put their head down because it's the comfiest. Unfortunately, my baby decided it was comfy the way it was and decided not to move head down. So here we are with a breech baby that has other issues. Okay, so I just had my ultrasound with the MFM specialist, and I'm currently 36 weeks and 6 days, and they just did a more in-depth ultrasound because, here, let me take this off. Oh my gosh, I can't breathe. Because the baby is measuring small, and I also have low amniotic fluid, and he's breech, which is something we found out about at our 36-week appointment. So they referred me to a high-risk specialist, and they're going to see today if we can get an ECV scheduled, which is an external cephalic version, which is where they actually like physically rotate the baby outside the womb, like using their hands. So yeah, basically baby is breech right now. And we just did the in-depth ultrasound to make sure all of his anatomy is okay, and just kind of to see why maybe his growth is not where it should be. So yeah, now I'm just waiting for the doctor to come in to talk about the results. And Michael couldn't come because he's on duty. So yeah. Okay, so I just saw the doctor, and she confirmed that he is small and he's measuring small, and they think it's actually issues with my placenta calcifying that have resulted in this. There's a lot more details that I'll try to share with you guys later, but they are actually going to do an ECV to rotate him because he's breech, and we're going to get that scheduled for early next week because it's a Friday right now, and they can't do it today. So we're going to get that scheduled and hopefully go to labor and delivery like Monday or Tuesday to do that, and then see if he rotates. It's a little bit difficult because he is small, and they're worried about pressure on the placenta, but they're gonna call and see also if Michael can come. I don't know if he can come because of work, but I really want him to come for the procedure. Our hospital isn't necessarily letting people in, so anyways, I'll keep you guys posted. So I've been seeing the chiropractor. Nothing else is really open right now, like no acupuncture or anything like that because of COVID. And I've been doing a ton of inversions. I've been doing the inversions in the Spinning Babies book. I've been doing various breathing exercises, and honestly what I've been doing more than anything is just straight up inversions. So I used to be a yoga teacher, and I just did yoga a ton in my personal life. I literally have just been doing handstands so much, and I wouldn't recommend this. Honestly, I haven't been doing handstands because I had I broke this wrist a couple times, and handstands hurt my wrists normally, but with the added weight of pregnancy, it was like excruciating. So I've been doing headstands and forearm presses. So forearm presses, you basically like put your hands like this on the ground, and your weight is like on your forearms. So I've been doing forearm presses and headstands. But if you are not someone that has done this before, or you're not someone that practices this in yoga pre-pregnancy, I wouldn't recommend going straight for the inversion because it is a lot of pressure on your head, your shoulders, your back, anything that you're not used to. And a lot of those muscles and tendons and ligaments are super relaxed right now. Your spine is probably out of alignment, your pelvis may be out of alignment, all of these things because of pregnancy. So I would just caution you, don't do it if you aren't used to it. I am used to it. And even so, it is hard, let me tell you. Like that weight of all of your organs in your belly being inverted, that hurt. Like the first time I did it, I was shocked at how much weight and pressure I was feeling like towards my boobs. So I got to the point working my way up in time where it was really comfortable, and medically there's a lot of research that they put into this a few years ago, and it doesn't harm baby to do inversions like this when you're pregnant if it's something that you have practiced before in your life. But it didn't flip baby. So I was doing all these inversions, like, oh my gosh, if I was stressed, like I've been so stressed. I've been waking up really early, and I'll just kind of, my mind's just wandering and stressing about baby, and so I'll like wake up and go do inversions because I just am trying to calm my mind, quiet my mind, find that mindful space. Anyways, so baby's still breech. the protocol for the breech baby, for those of you that don't know, they will either, there's a couple options. You can try to flip it yourself, which is the kind of the more holistic methods, jumping in a pool, doing handstands in a pool, doing inversions. A lot of those are limited right now because of COVID, acupuncture, chiropractor, all these different things. Then there's a medical intervention called an ECV, which is an external cephalic version. The version literally involves one OBGYN or two OBGYNs, depending on the placement of the baby. They bring you to the hospital to labor and delivery. They give you muscle relaxants, and then they try to they grab onto your baby and rotate it. Then the third option is to schedule a C-section. So I really don't want a C-section, like really don't want a C-section for a myriad of reasons. One, I really want to experience like I want to experience birthing my child. And I feel like I do lose that to a certain extent in vaginal delivery. Two, I really want the baby to get all of the immune benefits and kind of normal flora and all of that kind of stuff that comes from a vaginal delivery. And then three, I don't want to have VBACs or future C-sections with my future kids. This is my first baby, and I'm facing the very real likelihood of a C-section. And that's never, like, I never thought I'd have to have all my babies with C-sections. And it's very rare, kind of with what's going on right now, that a doctor would allow me to have a VBAC, which is a vaginal birth after C-section or cesarean. So I'm pretty much like guaranteeing that I'm going to have C-sections from here on out. So I really want a normal delivery. And right now it doesn't look like that's happening, or is not necessarily happening. I'm trying to be optimistic still, but that was one of the big options. So I'm doing all the holistic things, and then I also opted to see the high-risk specialist. Also, I have horrible hiccups, I'm so sorry. It's like a pregnancy thing. So the pregnancy specialist decided they want to try to rotate the baby doing the ECV, because I was kind of down to do that and try that, and I think it's the best decision at this point for our family. But the baby is breech. He's footling breech, and he has not yet fully dropped, so that's partially why they're going to try the footling breech rotation. But then we found out some other news from the high-risk OBGYN, which was kind of the overwhelming part of everything else I'm telling you. So basically our son is really small, and he is what's called a growth restricted baby. So he at this point is not really gaining much more weight, and this was a huge shock because my mom had like 8 and 9 pound babies. Basically our entire family has had 8 through 10 pound babies, and I really was expecting to have like a large baby, at least, you know, a normal size baby. So right now our son is in the 5th percentile growth-wise, which kind of came as a big shock to me and was really hard to hear. And it was hard to hear because they basically said that my placenta is dying. So my placenta is prematurely aging. Your placenta has a lifespan, like other organs in your body. It tends to die at like 41, 42 weeks, which is why babies come out at 40 and they induce by 41, because your placenta begins to calcify and die. When your placenta calcifies, the baby, it loses functionality. So the placenta controls water intake, it controls nutrient exchange, it controls waste exchange, it controls the passage of blood, oxygen, all those important things. So when your placenta is calcifying and it's not working as well, baby isn't getting the things it needs. And the way I kind of like to think of it is when you have a myocardial infarction, heart attack, the blood vessels in your heart, the blood vessels to your heart that actually feed your heart, begin to kind of fail. They start to clog, they start to get plaque buildup in them, and then they slowly close until one infarcts, and or one's totally blocked and it causes an infarction and cuts off, you know, you can think of it as like fuel to the heart basically. So that's what's happening in my placenta right now. Yay team. And so as a result, baby is not getting nutrients. He's basically, the way they explain it is it's like he's on a diet, but we don't want him on a diet. We want him to be eating as much as he can. So he's not really gaining a lot more weight right now. The one really good piece of news that we got was that his blood flow, the blood circulation through the umbilical cord and to him, and his heart rate and all of those things, the oxygenation levels are good right now. So he's still getting blood and oxygen and all of that stuff, but he's not really getting food. So he's really small, and him being in the womb at this point isn't really benefiting him much, except for the fact that we want his lungs to have surfactant and fully form and all of those things, and also want him to be as strong as possible because of everything that's going on in the world right now. So we found out that my placenta is calcifying and is really fragile, and that he's growth restricted. And so we kind of talked about all the potential outcomes, and they still recommended the ECV for me, but it has a lower chance of being successful. And they're kind of worried about it because I have a greater likelihood of hemorrhaging and needing an emergency C-section because of the fact that it's so fragile. So basically they push on this baby a bunch, and if they push on the placenta in a certain way, or really at all, like too much, it could just quit, it could hemorrhage, break, whatever, and could result in fetal distress. So they're going to be monitoring a lot, and I guess it's just a lot going on. I kind of am processing all of this, and I'm hoping developmentally that things are good with him. They did check a bunch of important things, and everything did look good as far as they can tell from, you know, the limited amount of imaging that they can do in the womb, and because he wasn't cooperating by moving certain body parts. But anyways, so that is scheduled for this coming week. I wanted to give you guys an update because it's kind of been a lot, and it wasn't anything that I was expecting. Even just this ECV procedure seemed like a lot that I was going to face. A C-section is like a lot, potentially, and if not, so game plan, even if they don't, if the ECV is successful and they rotate him out of the breech position into head down, they will induce me by 39 weeks. If the rotation is not successful, they will give me a C-section at 39 weeks. Both of those are happening because they want him out, and they want him feeding not off of my placenta anymore, basically. So that's kind of what's going on with us. I'll try to insert some footage from some updates. It's been a little hard because I've had to go to all the appointments by myself because Michael is both on a mission for the military, so he can't come, and also COVID happened, so he can't come either. Anyways, but if you are a mom and you are struggling with some unforeseen health issues, I've definitely been feeling this week. You know, I get my baby app updates, and I love my baby apps, but it's been a little, I honestly haven't been opening them lately because, you know, they told me this week, baby's the size of a cantaloupe, and like baby weighs this many pounds, and my baby doesn't weigh that much, and my baby isn't that big, and my baby may have complications that we don't know about as a result of this, or there could be things linked to this that are pretty life-changing, the reasons why, you know, maybe he weighs less or whatnot. So it's definitely been eye-opening, because I think if you're blessed with a perfect pregnancy that's easy, and no pregnancy is easy, but, you know, has no road bumps, then honestly I'm so happy for you, because it's hard. And if not, you know, you're not alone, and it is hard to compare to these like benchmark pregnancies and have the apps telling you certain things and whatnot, but everyone's experience is different, kind of the way everyone experiences life differently and is a different person. I think your journey can be beautiful. It all depends on your perspective, and right now I feel as if we were given these challenges because my husband and I are able right now at this point in our life, not maybe, 3 years ago or whatever, but at this point in our life, we have the support networks and the ability mentally, physically, and emotionally to make it through this together with God. And so I feel lucky that this has happened in this timing right now, I guess, if that makes sense. I know that God will carry us through it and that our son will be okay, hopefully. And I just pray that the procedures all go well and that everything turns out okay. But I wanted to share the story in case you're experiencing difficulties also, so you know you're not alone, because you're not. And you have friends and family and an online friend, and a God that is always looking out for you, watching over you, and has a larger plan to work together for your good. So anyways, I'll talk to you guys later, but I wanted to give you a quick update on what's been going on. Bye. Hey guys, I'm in my next OB appointment, 37 weeks and 4 days right now, trying to give them an update on what MFM and high risk have said. They're going to see how far I'm dilated today, and then tomorrow is the big procedure that we've decided on.
Hey now, take a step outside and seize the day now. Set aside your worries, it's okay